Hello, everyone. Hey, guys, welcome back to another episode of our show. Tonight's episode is going to be a scary one. We will be taking a look at some footage that was caught on tape by a person who was trying to investigate their own home for ghosts. The scariest part of it all is that what they found may not be something from this world. Let's begin. Before we begin tonight's episode, make sure to subscribe if you have UNT already so you can be notified every time we upload a new video. And if you enjoy our videos, please leave us a like because it really helps us out. Now let's get into it. Our story begins with a man named Michael. Michael was a paranormal investigator who ran his own business in the Midwest. One day he gets a call from a local resident who wishes to remain anonymous, and she tells him about how her family has been having strange experiences in their new house. She tells him that their daughter and son-in-law were moving into the home, and while they were unpacking, they heard voices coming from inside the walls. Then they heard footsteps when no one was home. Strange things started happening around the house. They would hear piano music coming from the basement, even though there was no piano in the house, and no one had ever played the piano before. They also claimed to see the shadow figure of an elderly woman walking up the stairs. So that's when they decided to call Michael. Michael heads over to the house to investigate and set up his equipment. He uses D, TAE, M5ML, R cameras and audio recorders to try and detect any paranormal activity. That night, he sets up his equipment in the basement and goes to sleep. In the morning, he comes back down to the basement and checks his equipment, only to find out that the memory card from the camera was blank. Thinking it might have just been a fluke, he re-records and leaves again. When he comes back, he checks the camera once more, and it's blank again. This happens 2 more times before he decides to check the camera while he's still there. As soon as he does, he sees the ghost of a little girl walk across the frame. As you can see, the ghost walks across the camera multiple times, always staying just out of frame. She walks past the audio recorder and microphone, then walks behind the camera where she disappears. After the ghost leaves the basement, Michael goes back upstairs and talks to the residents about what he saw. They tell him that the ghost of a little girl did indeed live in the house. Her name was Mary Ellen, and she died in the basement while playing with a toy. But this isn't where the story ends. The next day he returns to the house to do some more investigating. While he's down there, he hears a knock. At first he thinks it's coming from the floor above. But after further inspection, he realizes that it's coming from inside the wall. He knocks back, and the sound stops. Then he hears the sound again, and he responds once more. The knocking continues until Michael stops. He thinks to himself that maybe it's just some animals in the wall. However, he later finds out that it's not. He then begins to record the whole room with a wide-angle camera. He places the camera on a tripod and points it towards the staircase leading to the basement. He doesn't notice anything at first, but when he reviews the tape, he sees something very disturbing. As you can see, a shadow figure can be seen walking down the stairs. What's most terrifying about it is that there was no one home at the time, and the door to the basement was locked. Michael said that he triple-checked to make sure that no one was home when he went to investigate. He even asked the neighbors to make sure that no one was home. No one was supposed to be home during this investigation, yet someone, or something, was clearly in the house. Michael tries to communicate with whatever is in the house, but nothing responds. He then decides to play a voice recording of him, asking the entity to turn off the light in the basement. As soon as he does, the light turns off by itself. But that's not all. A loud bang is heard throughout the whole house. It sounded like a book had been slammed onto a table. This is where things start to get even scarier. After this happened, Michael felt that the presence in the room was getting angry. He tried to calm the spirit down by telling it that he didn't mean to upset it, but the spirit continued to get angrier. At this point, Michael began to feel very scared. He knew that whatever was in the room with him was not friendly. He grabs his things and runs. When he looks back, he sees the shadow figure standing at the top of the basement stairs. It seems to be looking directly at him. This is where things take a turn for the worst. Michael runs back home and doesn't sleep for 3 nights. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees the shadow figure from the house. He then calls up the residents to warn them about what he saw. They tell him that they will deal with it and hang up the phone. Michael never goes back to that house again, but he often thinks about the shadow figure and hopes that whoever was haunting the house finds peace. We then see a video taken by the residents. They set up a camera in the basement to try and see if they could catch anything on tape. They say that they don't want to know what's in the basement anymore. They just want it to leave them alone. As they speak, we see the same shadow figure walk across the screen. It looks to be the same exact figure that was caught on Michael's camera. Now we see another video. This time it was taken by the son-in-law of the residents. He's setting up a camera in the basement and talking to the camera. As he does, we see the shadow figure walk across the screen. As the shadow figure approaches the camera, the son-in-law starts to panic. He quickly turns the camera away before the figure can be seen, but not before we see its feet. The shadow figure seems to stop when it sees the camera and starts to move side to side. It almost looks like it's trying to hide. I would have reacted the same way. If I were in that situation, I would have freaked out and dropped the camera. What's even scarier is that the son-in-law later claimed that he felt a cold spot while filming. He said that he felt an icy cold breeze on the back of his neck. He turned around to see if the window was open, but it wasn't. The basement was completely sealed off. As the story goes on, Michael tries to explain what the shadow figure could be. He believes that it's the spirit of Mary Ellen, the little girl who died in the basement. He says that the energy in the house was so strong that it could have created a portal to another dimension. This could explain why the camera would work perfectly fine 1 minute and then not the next. It could also explain why the audio and video recordings would be blank. Maybe whatever was on the other side of the portal was able to mess with the frequencies. This could also explain why the shadow figure could walk through walls. Maybe it was a spirit from another dimension. But what do you think? Do you believe that Michael and the residents of the house were dealing with a ghost or something else entirely? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you next time.